Hey everybody, tonight's video is called Judgment on Mount Seir, and tonight we continue our passthrough study here in the book of Ezekiel. We're looking at the announcement and the judgment on Edom. So tonight is going to be definitely shorter than Saturday's video. So forgive me if you thought it was too long. At least I didn't sing. But Ezekiel 35 verse 1 and 2 opens up. Moreover, the word of the Lord came to me saying, this is the prophet Ezekiel, obviously claiming the Lord of the word came to him. Verse 2, Son of man, set your face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. So Seir, when you see, some translations might use the word Edom. And that was also threatened with judgment back in Ezekiel 25 verse 12 through 14. And Edom is seen early on in Genesis chapter 32 verse 3 and Genesis 38 verse 6. And Edom was considered Israel's most hardened and bitter enemy, as seen in Psalm 137 verse 7 and Malachi 1 verse 2 through 5. And it was located east of the Arabah from the Dead Sea to the Gulf of Aqaba. And the main cities were Taman and Petra, now in ruins. And the theme of this general section of Ezekiel brings encouragement and hope to Israel and promises of future restoration. Verse 3 through 4, And say to it, Thus says the Lord God, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against you. I will stretch out my hand against you and make you most desolate. I will lay your cities waste, and you shall be desolate, and then you shall know that I am the Lord. So this prediction came to pass literally first by King Nebuchadnezzar, and then later on in 126 BC by John Hyrcanus. And there's no trace of Edomites now through their desolate cities, or though their desolate cities can be identified and predicted by Obadiah in Obadiah verse 18 and Jeremiah 49 verse 13 of Jeremiah. And against is repeated 4 times in 3 of the verses here. And God promised destruction and desolation to the cities of Edom in a way that revealed himself to them. In verse 5 through 9 says, Because you have had an ancient hatred and have shed the blood of children of Israel by the power of the sword, at the time of their calamity, when their iniquity came to an end. Therefore, as I live, says the Lord God, I will prepare for you blood, and blood shall pursue you. And since you have not hated blood, therefore blood shall pursue you. Thus I will make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it the one who leaves and the one who returns. And I will fill its mountains with the slain on your hills and in your valleys and in all your ravines. Those who are slain by the sword shall fall. I will make you perpetually desolate, and your city shall be uninhabited. Then you shall know that I am the Lord. So God will judge Edom because of her perpetual enmity against Israel, since Esau hated of Jacob between Genesis 25 through Genesis 28. And Edom's spiteful bloodshed against the Israelites trying to escape the Babylonians in 586 BC. And they took advantage of Israel at a time of their calamity. So now the judgment would have to be severe, that many Edomite cities would become empty and desolate. Verse 10, Because you have said, These 2 nations and these 2 countries shall be mine, and we will possess them, although the Lord was there. So we see a further reason of Edom's doom is her design to snatch control of the territory occupied by the 2 nations, Judah and Israel. And they plotted to take over these nations for their own gain, but were prevented and destroyed because the Lord was there. And Israel wasn't to have or take the territory of Edom because God gave it to the descendants of Esau. Verse 11 and 12. Therefore, as I live, says the Lord God, I will do according to your anger and according to the envy which you showed in your hatred against them. And I will make myself known among them when I judge you. Then you shall know that I am the Lord, and I have heard your blasphemies, which you have spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, they are desolate, they are given to us to consume. So here are more reasons for Edom's destruction, such as anger, envy, and blasphemies. And Ezekiel 35 should powerfully speak to any people or nation that sets themselves against Israel. And take heed, Arab world and Palestinian world, against the Jewish people in Israel today, and also your Hamas sympathizers. Verse 13 thus says, with your mouth you have boasted against me and multiplied your words against me. I have heard them. So still another reason for judgment was Edom's proud ambitions, that they were really against God, although the Lord was there. In verse 14, 15, to end the chapter, thus says the Lord God, the whole earth will rejoice when I make you desolate. As you rejoice because of the inheritance of the house of Israel was desolate, so I will do to you, you shall be desolate. O Mount Seir, as well as all of Edom, all of it. And then they shall know that I am the Lord. So God's judgments are true, and the punishments fit the crime. And Edom, who once rejoiced in Israel's desolation, and now they must see the world happy about theirs to come. And the ultimate aim in Edom's judgment is that the whole world may know that he is the Lord, to see his glory. And sadly, sinners find out the hard way only in their destruction. So to wrap up tonight, we look at the announcement of God's judgment against Edom, also known as Seir, as God brings a word to Ezekiel against Edom. And verse 3 through 4 shows the announcement of judgment. Verse 5 through 9 moves into the reasons for God's judgment against Edom because of their ancient hatred. Verse 10 through 13 shows because of their jealousy. And then we see the chapter ends with the joy of the earth when Edom is judged. And I want to flip over to one verse in Hebrews. So we're not going to have a huge amount of reading tonight, like I promised. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 31. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. And verse 31 should be scary there for reprobates. It's a scary verse. And we'll see you next as we'll look at the new covenant for Israel's land and people. And we'll probably have another long study in chapter 36, because that's another area I really like, and there's a lot to go over with it. So I hope you have a great rest of your evening. I'll let you know when the next study will be. God bless.